we're gonna go ahead and get started. Trying out a new sound system, so if you guys can't hear me in the back, let us know and we'll take care of it. But I want to welcome everybody to the 2019 edition of the Baseball and Softball Banquet. Up until last year, we did all of the spring sports together, but when we moved softball to the spring, it became too large of a crowd to try and have everybody in the cafeteria. So now we do two banquets. Of course, this one being baseball and softball, and then on Tuesday, we'll do track and golf. So welcome to the softball and baseball banquet. I'm not going to do a lot of talking this evening. I'm going to let the coaches take care of that, but we've got a lot to celebrate with our athletes for both our teams and our individuals, and I'm looking forward to hearing what the coaches have to say. Without any further ado, I'd like to invite Taylor Matthews up to the podium, and she's going to do tonight's invocation.
All right, please bow your heads. Dear God, thank you for allowing us to gather here tonight in celebration of these wonderful athletes. Please bless the hands of those who have prepared the food we are about to eat. Thank you for watching over our teams and giving them a successful season. Please continue to watch over them, as well as everyone else gathered here with us tonight. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Great job, Taylor. Thank you very much. We'll go ahead and start with eating, which is always a good idea. The head table will eat first, and then I randomly picked tables before anybody got here, I promise. What do we have here? We went with table 3 was first, table 4 was second, table 2 was third, and then table 1 was last. I'm sorry, table 1. Okay, so head table, head up, and then after that, table 3 can follow. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. Okay, first of all, I'd like to take just a second to thank a few people. First, let's start with a thank you to Jordan Mueller and her kitchen staff for serving the meal tonight. Thank you very much, ladies. And tonight's meat, the bratwurst and the pork steaks, they were provided tonight by the Trading Post. So thank you to the Trading Post. I also want to take just a minute to thank all of our booster officers who spend quite a bit of time throughout the whole school year, the fall, the winter, and the spring, doing a lot for our athletes, and they do it on a volunteer basis. And the list of things they do is very long, and one of those is doing a lot of stuff for these banquets. So thank you to our booster officers. Those are Sandy Gegg, Carrie Staffen, Carla Bullock, and our newest member, Deanne Squires. So thank you, ladies. Any of you parents who volunteered this year in the concession stand, we thank you very much. We've always said that if every parent did one concession stand throughout the course of a year, we would have way more parents than we had spots to fill. And unfortunately, we don't have that. So a lot of you have to work multiple times just so we can cover everything. So if you have worked, we greatly appreciate it. We can't do it without you. And a lot of the things that those concession stands, the profits from those concession stands go to are invaluable. Scholarships for our athletes. We had 4 scholarships that we were able to give out this year because of concession stand profit, among other memberships and things like that. But also, just a few things off the top of my head. This year, the Sports Boosters approved a batting net for both our baseball and softball teams. The net that covers the batting cage in the high school gym has been there for a long time, and it's got holes in it. And one baseball this year even went through the net and broke the fire extinguisher glass. So at that time, we knew it was time to get a new net. So we didn't want anybody to get hurt, and I knew exactly who to go to because the boosters are always willing to help our kids out, and without hesitation, they bought a new net, which should be installed anytime, any day now. So seniors, sorry, but all of you underclassmen will get to enjoy the new batting cage net next year. Okay, introduction of coaches, and then after that I'll do very little talking for the rest of the night. You're welcome. So we'll start to my far left here. We've got one of our new assistant softball coaches, and that is Jared Bonnell. We've got, not new to softball, but our new head coach for the softball program, Russ Toombs. And another new assistant. They were all new at their positions this year and did a fantastic job. Our other assistant for softball is Jamie Viox. Over on this side, starting to my immediate right here, we've got head baseball coach. We've got a lot of familiar faces on this side of the table. We've got our head baseball coach, Mike McDaniel. To his right, one of his assistants, Kellen Bosler. Another assistant, Brock Kreitler. And somebody who did something that I don't know has ever been done before, somebody that actually helped both our baseball and softball teams at the same time. Mr. Stupi, or Coach Stupi, did a lot this spring. If I didn't see him at the baseball field, I saw him at the softball field, and he did everything from helping coach to dragging the field. And I know that sounds crazy with turf, but you do still have to drag those fields, believe it or not. But he did a lot, and it was all volunteer, no pay. We greatly appreciate his time, and again, that is Coach Aaron Stupi. Okay, we're going to start with baseball this evening. So I believe for baseball it's going to be Coach Kreitler to start us off, and then Coach McDaniel will follow Coach Kreitler. So Brock, come on up, get us rolling.
Good evening. I'd be disappointed in myself if I didn't start us out with Gloria and Let's Go Blues. I've been getting razzed by these gentlemen over here about how great the Sharks have been for the past 2 weeks, so I have to throw that out there. Yeah, right. All right, I'm going to start us out with a couple of shout-outs and thank yous. Thank you to the JV baseball parents. Thank you for supporting the program, supporting these players, and following us around this year. Thank you to Todd and Maritime Sports for the awesome coverage throughout the year. We appreciate getting some publicity through social media, and Todd did a great job working with us this year. Thank you to Carrie Staffen for the game pitchers, catering to the needs of the baseball team throughout the year on top of her other responsibilities. I and this team greatly appreciate you. Thank you to Alyssa Schwent for allowing her son Bryant to be around the baseball program. We love having him and his energy at the baseball field. Thank you to Mr. Nix for another successful spring season and all the hard work that goes into getting things together to make this happen. Thank you to our wonderful baseball managers at the JV level, Sydney Eisenbeis and Boston Williams. Thank you for putting up with us coaches and players to make things run a bit smoother. Thank you to these gentlemen to my right, Coach McDaniel, Coach Bosler, and Coach Soupy. These guys are great role models and coaches to have around for the program, and I'm truly blessed to work alongside them. And finally, thank you to the players. Without you all, our season wouldn't happen, and I admire all the hard work and effort that you've put in this season. So without further ado, let me call on the JV baseball players and have them come up front. Zachary Boyer. I have 2 stories to tell you all tonight, and one of them includes this guy. Zachary took part in a combined no-hitter with fellow teammate Andrew Glassy against AV. When this happened, Zach threw 6 out of 7 innings with Andrew closing out the game with 14 pitches thrown. I had to take him out because he hit his pitch limit. I'm not taking anything away from Zach, as he did a fantastic job that evening against AV, but AV's JV was not the greatest team by any means. I think he struck out like 12 to 14 batters that game. Anyways, Coach Schwent congratulated Zach on a no-no the next day. In an asking tone, Schwent says, "I heard they weren't that good." And Zach responded, "Oh no, Coach, they're pretty good." So now we know where Zach's level of honesty lies. Samuel Brewer. AD, Adrian Derouge. Xavier Fleeg. Andrew Glassy. This is the second part of the tandem that threw a combined no-hitter against a top state-ranked JV. Dylan Gordon. Carter Klump. Chayton Lee. Hunter Lawrence. Peyton Matthews. Thomas O'Brien. This is the second story of the night for you. So we're playing at North County, and Thomas is on second base. And Thomas slides back into second base and immediately calls time, and he goes, "Coach, come here, come here." And at that point, I am pretty sure I already knew what had happened, but I was hoping it wasn't true. I'm walking out there, and he's holding his hand. And he goes, "Coach, look at my hand." I said, "I'm not looking at your hand." I had my head up. He goes, "Coach, you need to look at my hand. Look at my finger." "I'm not looking at your finger, Thomas." "Coach, just look at it." I looked down real quick. I was like, "Oh, God." And that was the last time I looked at his finger. So actually, that's probably the second time we've had a finger dislocation at North County. Next player, Cole Roman. Cody Shilley. Sean Schmieder. Nathan Selby. Tanner Weiler. Joey Wise. And Q, Quentin Whitcoff. Our JV squad came into the 2019 spring semester with 18 players. It always seems to be a big learning curve for new faces on the team with our ran plays, routines, expectations, and our schedule. There is so much to take in and process in a short amount of time. These guys did an amazing job and have improved so much from day one. It's always nice to have athletes willing to learn the game while putting forth the effort that they gave. We finished the season with 9 wins and 5 losses. I know this group will continue to improve and push to find greatness inside them. This is your 2019 JV baseball team.
All right, so First of all, as those JV guys are up here, and I was thinking about the varsity guys, you know, you ladies, I think that these gentlemen might give you guys a little run for your money with hair products and styles. There's some serious flow going on there. And I did not know that a perm was such a thing for a guy to get, but apparently we have a handful of those on our baseball team. So if you're wanting to know anything about how to do a perm and what it smells like and everything like that, I felt like I was at one of your softball practices instead of maybe one of our baseball practices. It was quite interesting there for a while. But they look darn good, don't they? First of all, several people to thank, and I'll try to get through this pretty quick. First of all, I mean, Coach Nix gets thanked all the time, and, you know, I don't think we can thank him enough. Spring is definitely a stressful time because, you know, you're playing to the elements and everything. Luckily, the turf kind of gives us a little leeway with that. And a lot of schools want to use our fields too, which is really nice. So once again, I'm going to thank you guys for passing bond issues to be able to give our kids the facilities to really be the envy of people all around us too. It's something that's special that maybe they might take for granted sometimes that other people wish that they had. And as I said, his job is a thankless one, but we appreciate everything he does. Technology department, that's another thing. Golly, just the capabilities that we have to broadcast games if you can't be there, or a family member, not even just like, you know, out of the area, but out of the state or halfway across the globe, they're able to tune in and watch, you know, relatives, friends, you know, alma mater, whatever it is. And that's a capability that is a pretty awesome thing to have. So, you know, Mr. Schweiss and student broadcasters, I know the announcing is different, maybe. It's interesting, yes. Selby with the call, though, district. That was pretty good, though. All right, nice job. Jason Viox for all the work that he does covering our games, and, you know, he does a lot for one person covering as many sports as he does. Todd Gurnow, who we added to the mix at Maritime Sports, you know, does a great job of recapping all of our games. KTJJ, KFMO for their radio coverage. Big thank you to all the parents that help out in the concession stand, support their sons by coming out, braving the elements. I think baseball moms and dads, you guys are much more thankful this year that the weather was not like last year. All right, you didn't need those warm clothes as often. But seeing you guys in the stands, you know, cheer them on means a lot, even though they may not say it. They're really appreciative of that. A couple of individual moms too, Carrie Staffen, they said, for all the pics and everything that you take. I mean, it's a great thing for these guys to be able to look back and document those things. An extra thank you to Mama Kemper for all the cookies.
I'm not Catholic, I never got any cookies.
You never got any? They're the best cookies in the world. Those chocolate ones, those are great. My parents, for everything that they do to help the program, all the stuff they do for the concession stand, cleaning out dugouts. My dad is like the master like sunflower seed detector, which is a good thing because, you know, he appreciates the facilities that we have, and he wants other people to feel the same way as what he does. They support not just myself, but all the boys in the team, and that's a really cool thing for them to, you know, be there from whenever I was in high school till, you know, well past these guys right here. So there's not a moment that goes by that where at least one of them is not at a game. So thank you very much for that. My wife, Rachel, she provides me with a lot of different perspective on things and isn't afraid to be honest with me about stuff and tell me if I'm ridiculous from time to time, which does happen. We have a busy schedule during the spring with her coaching golf. And our schedules don't always match up, so we're kind of passing ships. But things are about to get a little busier with her being due with our firstborn child in August, and we're really looking forward to that. Cody Schwint, I can't thank him enough for all that he's done for us. You know, whenever I was sick and, you know, he fills in, you know, it's just like, you know, he never left is really what it is. So we appreciate that. Coach Stupi, it's always great whenever you have a former player that comes back and helps out. He's volunteered his time between the two. I guess we see where his loyalties lie tonight.
Shots fired. Shots fired.
Aaron, you're going to have to battle that one out, buddy. All right. Coach Bosler and Coach Kreitler. You know, these two are my right arm and my left arm, but I'll let them decide which is the right and which is the left, and there could be a whole thread on text message tonight trying to figure that out. It can be pretty comical as well. There's not a day that goes by during the season where there's not just a plethora of emails that go back and forth, discuss, you know, the team and what's in our best interest. They're honest in their feedback, and I appreciate that as a head coach. Each one cares about all these players on the team as if they are their own child. And the saying goes that you surround yourself with good people, good things are bound to happen, and that's the case with these guys. And don't get me wrong, though. I mean, there's probably a little mischief along the way, especially some of those late-night texts that we get after games or something. But let's move on to the season here. All I can say is, wow, what a season. Last year, our guys had a goal in mind, and unfortunately, that goal wasn't met. We ran into a hot team at the wrong time, and our season ended, a bit prematurely. I knew what they wanted this season to be like, but I was waiting to see what kind of work that they were going to put in, to make that goal happen. And it was easy to see from the beginning how they wanted this whole thing to go down. We always have a saying that with the big rewards come from doing the small things right. Without the small things, the big things can't happen. And as a collective unit, I felt our players made the commitment to do all the small things, and it showed. And I felt like it started at the beginning of the season whenever I had a flu, 102-degree fever, and, we have these guys that step in, and it's like I never left or anything. It's like they can almost kind of coach themselves. And it's a nice feeling, and I talked about that technology thing too. Here I am watching on Game Changer, and these guys are going out there and competing, and they end up winning a championship, and I feel like the scene in Major League where Coach Lou Brown is on the hospital bed jumping up and down, in his skivvies or something like that. Sorry. Didn't want you guys to picture that. But, it was an awesome thing to see those guys start off 4-0 like that. And we went on a roll, hit a couple little snags along the way, but next was the conference tournament. We ended up getting #1 seed overall, and were able to avenge a couple of our losses against Farmington and North County along the way, which I'm sure was a little sweet satisfaction for these guys. Then the next major accomplishment was a district championship against the same North County team that we had played a few times prior to that. And boy, it felt like a heavyweight, just fight, a boxing match out there. Each side was just swinging, and you just didn't know how it was going to end up. It was like, who was going to be the person that falls first? And it was just an absolute thriller. And they won only the 3rd district title in St. Genevieve High School baseball history. And in the process, set the school record for wins with 22, and only had 5 losses on the year. So it was quite an accomplishment what these guys were able to do this year, but it took all those small things like we were talking about. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce people and have them come up, rather talk about them than just have me up here. Managers, first of all, Bryant Schwint. Bryant's not here, but it's good to have a young guy around, see what it takes for these guys to do. Brooke Weiler, and you can hold your applause to the end. Taylor Matthews, and I'll talk about these two first. They've been with us for a while, and I think that a lot of the time that their work kind of goes unnoticed, but whenever they had a couple of actual, I think, radio or media guys come over and say, "Do you guys do the book?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah." I said, "You guys are good. You know how to mark RBIs and fielder's choice and everything." I said, "We have grown men that don't know how to do this stuff." So it's always nice whenever you have people like that you can rely on. It makes my job easier. It makes their job easier. And like I said, we can't thank all the grief and everything that they put up with over the years too. The odd smells from the boys and everything, the dugout, the banter that they have. But no, they do an excellent job, and we're definitely going to miss them. Now we have 2 ladies in Sydney Eisenbeis and Boston Williams who are our JV managers, but they have 2 very, very good teachers, in Brooke and Taylor. And so they have some pretty big shoes to fill, but I'm confident that they are going to get the job done. But Brooke and Taylor, you most definitely will be missed. Our players, Zach Boyer. We'll go freshmen all the way through seniors here. Zach did a great job for us on the infield this year. He showed signs of being able to do some pretty good things on defense in practice, but we weren't exactly sure what we'd be getting on offense. And after a few JV games and a little bit more practice time, it was pretty evident that he deserved a shot at the varsity level. We knew he could hang defensively, but thought any sort of offensive production would just be an added bonus, but he did so with a very respectable .321 average on the varsity level as a freshman this year. He's still a little raw, but he has a ton of athleticism, and I think with some fine-tuning and some more hard work in the weight room, it'll be exciting to see what he brings to the table the next 3 years. Sophomores, Adrian DeRouche. AD was a late addition to the varsity roster, but we feel is definitely well-deserved. He was an anchor on the JV squad and worked his rear end off. You think being the baby of the family that he might take it easy just a little bit, pamper himself a little. But being the baby, I think his older brothers probably picked on him even more is probably what it was. And in that family with all those boys, it was probably survival of the fittest is probably what it was. I think the DeRouche parents, you guys probably invested in some cheap furniture because of all the wrestling and everything that probably goes around the living room and everything. I'm sure a few things have gotten broken along the way. But it's fun to watch Adrian play because you can just tell how much he loves the game by the way he carries himself and interacts with everybody else. It's pretty cool whenever you see Adrian all stone-faced and you see that little smirk out the corner of his mouth like that. Right now, yep, just like that. He'll be a nice addition to the varsity squad next year. Our next sophomore, Hunter Lawrence. Hunter's one of the hardest workers that we have. It was always fun to see him in the weight room in the off season because he has a no-holds-barred attitude whenever he's in there. He's there for a purpose, and taking a rep off just isn't an option. He brings the same intensity, I feel, to the mound. When you see him or you talk to him, you say, man, that's a nice guy. Man, look at him. But there's a competitive streak that's just awesome to see. He gets angry, and you wouldn't like him when he's angry, all right? But he hides it well. But like I said, if you know what you're looking for, there's an intensity that just screams, give me the dang ball and get out of my way. Hunter has a lot of potential, and if we can harness it all together and make it click, look out. He should definitely be one of our major contributors next season. Our next sophomore, Peyton Matthews. Peyton had a breakout season for us on the mound this year. Unfortunately, he ran into a little bit of an injury late in the year, but he was a big reason we were able to accomplish what we did. I know he's a little bummed that he didn't get to finish out the year playing, but one thing he did is he committed himself to getting himself ready in the offseason, and it showed. He pitched in 8 games, started 4 of them, went 4-0 on the mound, notched 1 save, and had an ERA of 2.04. Peyton's a gamer, but that's only because of his preparation and practice and the desire to be his best. The calm, cool demeanor that he brought to the mound in games like Valley in the conference tournament, Valley game and the conference championship against North County, all right, we're definitely well beyond his years. We'll definitely be looking for big things from him next year. All right, juniors, Keaton Boyer. Nice flow. Keaton had a taste of varsity last year, and he definitely must have liked it because he savored every minute of it this year. He put in a lot of work this offseason in the weight room and the cage. He's a lot stronger than he likes to show in the weight room, which is why I have to get on to him quite a bit. He's lifting weights and doing it like 20 times. Like, Keaton, put some more weight on there. Come on, man. All right. And something else he kind of needed to do, too, in the offseason was make a little small change and trying to get his lower body a little bit more involved in his swing. But I feel like that work paid off, and he really, he helped announce himself to the teams in the area, and he got them noticing that he's going to be a force to be reckoned with, not just this year, but next year during his senior year. He really solidified himself in the middle of our lineup, and I'm looking forward to seeing him this upcoming off season for some more heavy lifting. Next junior, Alex DeRouche. I don't think I've ever wanted something so bad for someone than Alex this year. He's fallen on a lot of hard luck in sports the last couple of years, and he spent some quality time getting himself ready to go for this year, only to sustain just a freak injury that sidelined him for the entire year. He's a wonderful young man, and that would have added some depth to our lineup, but as fate had it, I'll have to wait until next season, unfortunately. I know he's going to fight like heck to get himself back to action because, well, quite frankly, that's what DeRouches do. They fight hard and they don't give up. But a funny story about Alex, though, too, because they said he does get injured. The dog pile during the district championship game, everybody jumps out there and is getting on and everything, and they're just excited. And all of a sudden, like, we're all in the huddle afterward, and DeRouche has blood pouring down his leg. Like, how in the world do you get injured in a dog pile? Well, I guess that turf got the best of him there. But no, we're looking forward to Alex next year and getting himself healthy. Our next junior, Logan Geck. Sauce. Logan's another one that experienced a breakout year for us. He's been a solid fielder in the past, and he showed some potential to do some good on the mound and at the plate, but I don't think we could have expected, this year what he gave us, especially on the bump. It all started with a gem of a game against Jackson in the championship at the beginning of the year, and it culminated in him throwing the district championship game. He may not have been someone who's going to blow you away with his velocity, but he was definitely going to be the guy to beat you down with his attitude and sheer competitive nature. He works his tail off day in and day out and sets a great example for everybody else to follow. In some of his major stats this year, he had a sub 2.0 ERA and bat over 300 for the year. He'll be another major contributor for us next year as well. Next junior is Jesse Kemper. Jesse served primarily as a courtesy runner this year and excelled at that role. We always need players that are fast. I feel like that gives us a bit of a threat on the base paths, and Jesse does exactly that. He played a lot of JV this year, to get some more experience in the field, and he did really well. Something that's pretty awesome to see is where his arm strength was his freshman year. At one point, it was non-existent because throwing-wise, he broke his arm whenever he threw the ball. And it was a very unfortunate incident. But to see where he was there and to work hard to where he is right now, he has an exceptionally strong arm. He's come a long way. I'm hoping to see him a little bit more in the cage this offseason so his hitting can progress like his arm has. He works his tail off in the weight room, so I know he's going to get a lot faster and stronger, and we're looking forward to next year. Our last junior is Kyle Kiefer. Kyle played a lot of JV this year, but has come a long way since his freshman year. He's one of those kids, he's a fantastic kid, never complains, goes about his business the right way every day. It'd be easy to have kind of a negative attitude, but instead, he's probably one of the more supportive teammates and hardest workers that we have on our team. Ladies and gentlemen, these are our underclassmen, so you can go ahead and give them a nice round of applause. You guys go ahead and stay up here. But before I introduce our seniors, I came across a quote from two-time All-American and former Heisman Trophy winner Ricky Williams from the University of Texas. He said, "I don't think people change. I think they definitely mature, but I think the essence of what I am today is the same as when I was 5 years old. It's just maturity. I've become a healthier, fuller expression of that essence." I saw this and I thought of our seniors right away because they've come a long way since their freshman year. To myself and the other coaches, they're definitely a healthier and fuller individual that's representative of who they've always been, and that's a 10-year-old kid that loves to play a game. Except now, they can't exactly fit in those same clothes, no matter how much you've seen your parents would like for them to. I saw a Facebook post not too long ago of our seniors when they were kids, and they had their little chubby smiling faces out there in their baseball uniforms. And then last week, I saw the same group of guys. This time, little thinner faces, still smiling in their baseball uniforms, celebrating a champion. They were celebrating a championship together. Sorry, guys. It's just awesome to see that bond that they shared from the time they've been 8, 9, 10 years old all the way to now. It's a pretty awesome thing to witness. So I'm going to get these guys up here real quick. Our first senior, I don't think he's here tonight, but it's Devin Bader. Our next senior is Brady Boyer. Brady and I had a talk over the winter about getting ready for his senior season. And I told him the work that he was putting in would continue to put in would pay off in a big way. Well, if any of you guys went to the district championship game, you know how that turned out. Hitting a double to eventually score the tying run, to getting the game-winning hit in extras proved that all that time spent working the offseason was most definitely worth it. Brady had a great season, batted .370, had a 1.021 OPS, and tied for the lead in runs scored. But I'm sure if you asked him, the one stat that he's not happy with, it's probably stolen bases. Because for whatever reason, anytime Brady got the steal signal, the batter swung and usually hit the ball, and he'd get over on third base, and like, golly, there went another steal. Dang it. Brady will be attending St. Charles Community College next year to play baseball, and this year he's recognized for his accomplishments, earning second-team all-conference honors this year. Our next senior is Chad Dunsey. Chad's come a really long way from the little kid who used to run around the bases after his brother Jake's games, which was my first year of coaching about 14 years or so ago. I remember one time Chad was running the bases out at Park Hills, and I think I did something and accidentally tripped him, and he fell down and started crying, and I started kind of freaking out. To now a guy that's about 6'2", 6'3" over there, and the other guy was just barely above my kneecaps. So it's kind of funny to see how these guys grow up. But anywho, Chad had one of our usually took care of our biggest games this year on the mound. And, we leaned on him quite a bit to give us a quality start. He anchored our pitching staff, and he had a solid year at the plate as well. He batted .304, drove in 19 runs. He's definitely a true competitor who hates to lose and understands the concept of doing something for the team, all of which has helped him this year earn first-team all-conference. And then he will also be attending Three Rivers Community College next year to play baseball. Our next senior is Chase Kohler. I wasn't there to see it because, I was sick on the couch, but I saw in Game Changer that Chase had a great first game in that opening weekend tournament. Like, man, the dude's like 4 for 4. And then all of a sudden, he wasn't there anymore. I'm like, what the heck happened to this guy? My heart really broke whenever I found out that he had a freak injury and is going to sideline him for almost 3/4 of this season. He's a guy that we've leaned on quite a bit over the last few years. But one of the best things that I saw from Chase this year was the way he handled the situation, where guys might have just kind of given up or thought, my season is a wash. That was the farthest thing from his mind. I know he's bummed on the inside, but that didn't deter him from being a great teammate in the face of his own adversity. Being out like that puts a new perspective on things, and I feel like it drove him even more to get himself back to action at the end of the season. Even though we missed quite a bit, he came back the last several games, helped us out, and finished the season hitting .350. All right, you'd definitely be missed, Chase, and I wish that we could have had you all season long. Our next senior, Derek Morgenthaler. Derek's made a name for himself throughout the area since he arrived on the scene his freshman year. I know he didn't have the year he's probably hoping for, but it was a solid year nonetheless. I was at a meeting with some other coaches toward the end of the season, and we were talking about some of the struggles that Derek was encountering. And one of the other coaches said, hey, you know what? I'd take a Morgenthaler on my team any day, followed by another coach saying the same thing. So when a kid like Derek comes along and develops a resume like he has, you never doubt his ability to compete. Derek will leave St. Genevieve High School as one of the winningest pitchers on the mound and has earned a lot of postseason honors in the process. This year, Derek was named second-team all-conference and will also be attending St. Charles Community College in the fall to play baseball. Our next senior is Peyton Powell. All right, Grant Staffen. And Grant is the one that hit the fire extinguisher, just so you guys know. But it was a rope, let me tell you. If you ask him, he hit it hard enough to make the hole. That's what it was. I've told many people over the last 4 years that this guy has the best hands in the area, but his offense just hadn't caught up yet. This year, he did what we've known he could do all along. He hit .395, which is second on the team, scored 27 times, which is tied for first, and he had an OPS of over 1, which was second on the team. If you ever watch somebody play defense, this is the guy that you need to watch. One of the coaches from Fredericktown told me in that very same meeting, and we were talking about Derek, he said, you know what, Grant's my favorite player to watch in the whole conference. All of this work the last few years paid off because those coaches also recognized him and named him to the all-conference team for first team. This is one guy that's definitely hard to replace on our infield, but I guarantee if you ask him about our pitching staff, he will say that he was the best one because his ERA was 0. Our next senior, our last senior, is Sam Stolzer. Tell you, Sammy has fought hard for us the past 4 years, and this year he pushed and pushed through to make huge strides, both behind the plate and at the plate. And if you don't believe me, I'm sure he has some of the bruises to prove it. And then I'm sure there's somebody down in Cape Girardeau with an SUV with a huge dent in the middle of the hood that proves the hitting part when he hit a home run over the scoreboard in left field. But there's never a doubt in anyone's mind about how hard Sam will work at something. And you can just tell by the amount of sweat that's involved. That's what it is. He knows that other people expect him to work hard. But more importantly, he expects it out of himself. This is a guy that we used to have bunt because it was probably his best chance of getting on base. This year, though, he batted a very respectable .281 and came up huge in several games for us to get us back in the mix or put us ahead. He drove in 16 runs, scored 17 himself, swiped 13 bases. He probably would have had more runs if he didn't have a courtesy runner just a few times, not very many. But all of Sam's hard work has paid off on the field, but more importantly, for his future as he prepares to head off to the Naval Academy. Ladies and gentlemen, Abe Lincoln, after his Gettysburg Address speech, he made a comment to the guy next to him. He says, you know, because there was a scattered applause and everything, and he said, that speech just won't scour. All right, and you guys that know, they're farmers and everything, you know, scour is, you know, it's not going to stick, is basically what he said. And I believe it takes the right people in the right place at the right time to make things work. It's a culmination of many people along the way and a lot of hard work. You hope the things that you do or say stick with these kids as they go through the scour part. As a coach, you feel a lot like Abe Lincoln, thinking that, you know, the things that you say or what you do won't stick. You say a lot and you do a lot, but you just never know. Well, I read Todd Gurnow's article after our sectional loss to Sykeston, and it brought tears to my eyes, because reading the quotes of what these guys said validated not just everything that we up here work so hard for, but everything that you out there have worked so hard for with these guys. So whenever he said it won't stick, you just never know what they're listening to or what they're watching, because obviously this stuff stuck. And that's why they're the way they are right now. It's because of everything you guys have done. Ladies and gentlemen, these are your seniors and the rest of the 2019 District Championship Dragons baseball team. And a couple of last comments for our seniors. You guys leave SGHS as the winningest team in school history with 69 wins over your last 4 years. Myself, along with the other coaches, wish you guys the absolute best of luck in all your future endeavors. Senior parents, even though these guys used to come home after games and give you their dirty uniforms, don't worry, they're still going to show up on your doorstep. This time it's just to give you their dirty laundry, all right? So see, not much has changed, all right? Still that 10-year-old self is what it is. But in all seriousness, you guys have done an outstanding job raising these fine young men, and we can't wait to see what they'll become. For you underclassmen, hey, there's a lot of work still left to do. Take advantage of the time you have in high school, because before you know it, you'll be the ones that are up here attending your final banquet. Let's give away some quick awards here. All right, first of all, our Defensive Player of the Year. This is a dude, like I said, I mean, the last 4 years have been outstanding watching this guy play the field. He made 2 plays out of Crystal City on a surface that wasn't exactly all that great, that you just look at and you got to just applaud if you're the other team or anybody. Our Defensive Player of the Year is Grant Staffen. Next, our Offensive Player of the Year. This particular gentleman made big strides last year. I said he tasted the flavor of the varsity, and he liked what he tasted, so he came back for a lot more. He led us in hits, singles, doubles, RBIs, average, on-base percentage, slugging percentage, and OPS. Our Offensive Player of the Year is Mr. Keaton Boyer. Our Pitcher of the Year this year is somebody that led us in innings pitched with almost 60. Games started with 10. He won 7 games. He would have had an unblemished record, but we're not going to talk about that. All right. Led us in strikeouts and also earned run average. He's going to Three Rivers next year to pitch. All right. Our Pitcher of the Year is Chad Dunsey. Our Dirty Uniform Award. This is a guy we always say, and it really takes a lot not to give it to the guy that we say wears the tools of ignorance, because you got to have something a little wrong with you to want to get back behind the plate and put all that equipment on and take some abuse. And this guy stepped into a role that Brian Selby held last year and thought did an outstanding job for us this year. Our Dirty Uniform Award goes to Sam Stolzer.
That should be sweaty uniform.
And lastly, our MVP award. And this is something that all of us coaches, vote on. We talk things out, they send votes, nothing sways it. All right, just kind of put it in there. All right, and that's how we come out with it. Our MVP, like I said, we have a lot of seniors that have done a lot of great things for this team this year, not just this year, but in the past. But we felt like this is a guy that kind of personifies the work that it takes, and then he gave us just a little extra. We relied on him quite a bit in a lot of games this year. Our MVP goes to Chad Dunsey. Just a couple quick notes. Pictures are after school tomorrow. I have picture packets up here. We are turning uniforms in tomorrow as well. I have stats available for you guys, and also the players. You guys, if you haven't picked up your district championship shirts, I have those for you. And if any parents or friends or anybody would like to order one, I will send out, well, you can send me a text message, and I'll put that down. Those will be $20 is what they are. All right? Thank you.
Taylor, stay up here. You got to start that video here in a second.
Get our steak.
Before we move on, Taylor and Brooke put together a video to kind of culminate the season. So I'm trusting these two ladies because I have not watched this or anybody who's watched it as far as I know. So fingers crossed that it's all school appropriate. Here we go. That might be game. That is game. Nice job, ladies. Very good video. That was fun. Speaking of fun, that was a great season for the baseball team. It was, it was what everybody expected from you. It wasn't a surprise to any of us that they did what they did. They were just a good all-around team, well coached, with a bunch of good players, and it was fun to watch, fun to be a part of. There were a lot of big wins during the season, but I think definitely one of my favorites. The district championship has to be your favorite, but one of my favorites had to be the win over Valley, which always is fun to beat Valley. But this one was particularly fun because it solidified an undefeated season against Valley this year in varsity sports. 13-0 against Valley this year, starting way back with the football game that we beat them all the way through baseball. 13-0, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Just a few thank yous, and then a couple of things before we turn it over to softball. I want to thank administrators, Mr. Haney and Dr. Boyd, and then, of course, our district administrators, Dr. Taylor, Dr. Fleeg, for help with supervision, with help with guidance, everything that you guys did, not only for the sports teams, but for me as a leader. They're always challenging me to be better, and I appreciate anything and everything that they always do for me. I want to thank the coaches, everybody up here at the table. From the first day of practice until the last game, it's so crazy hectic with paperwork and bus times and pitch counts and taking care of the field. It's just it's a never-ending thing throughout the course of a season, and you really have to make it a point to stop and thank the coaches for what they do, and I don't do that near enough because just simply I forget. It's not because I don't appreciate them, but you just forget because your mind is always working on what's going on today, what's going on tomorrow, what are we preparing for. But they do a fantastic job. They don't get paid a lot. I'll admit that right off the bat. That's just the life of a coach. But the coaches don't do it for the money, and if they did, they wouldn't be working for me. They do a great job. They care about the kids, they care about the programs, and they work tirelessly for all your kids. So thanks to the coaches. Also thanks to the athletes. They're the greatest part of high school sports, and of course we couldn't do it without the high school athletes. But everything's fun, when we're preparing, when we're playing, and that kind of thing. But to see the athletes and the team succeed, that's what makes everything worth it. That's what makes everything, all the hard work, worth the time and the effort and so forth. So the athletes are the biggest reason why we do what we do, and we want to thank them for their hard work, their time, and everything that they do to allow us to enjoy watching them. One last thing before I turn it over to softball. Coach McDaniel talked about the great facilities that we have and how lucky we are to have the community that we have. When you pull into St. Genevieve, a lot of you guys have always lived in St. Genevieve your whole life, but you're aware of the size of other towns and driving through other towns, and they have 20 different restaurants and a mall and a Walmart. When you see a town like St. Genevieve and you're driving through the town, and it's a nice town, but it's tiny. We all know that. And then you get to a school that looks like a small college. It's amazing. And those aren't my words. Those are words I've heard year after year from officials and visitors, from people all over who just constantly compliment our facilities. And that's a testament to a lot of people, the people who take care of the facilities, the administrators who make it happen, the community who votes for those bond issues. This spring, we were able to host district baseball, as you well know, district softball, as you well know, and also district track. The only thing we didn't host was golf, and we put in for it, and we got votes, but we didn't get chosen to host. All those other ones, we were chosen to host based on our facilities and how we conduct ourselves and run tournaments and events. So that's a giant pat on the back to not only the school, but to our community, to our parents, to our kids, to St. Genevieve. So be proud of that, because these facilities would not be here if it weren't for the people in this community being in support. So remember that down the road when the next bond issue comes up or the next facility deal comes up. You know, we have to continue to maintain these facilities. We have to continue, if we want to have the best around, and we want to always have the best around, we have to do what we have to do to make that happen, okay? I'm going to get off my soapbox and turn it over to the softball program. We're going to actually start with head coach Russ Toombs, go to Coach Bonnell, and then come back to Coach Toombs. So come on up, Russ. You're the man.
We're going to actually start this the correct way. Coach Stoopy. Get on the good side. All right. So I'm just going to do a few thank yous, and then I'll turn it over to Coach Bonnell. But some of these you're going to have heard before. Again, I want to thank my coaches, Coach Bonnell, Coach Viox, Coach Huber, and again, Coach Stoopy. The countless amount of time that they put in. It actually allowed me a couple of practices to be able to go watch my own son pitch in college, and so I really appreciate the time that they've put in. Also, to those of us that are married, our wives, to the others who aren't, their families, that understand how much time we spend away from them. Also to our athletic director, Mr. Nix, and our great administration, and Mr. Haney and Dr. Boyd, for everything in the sport that they give us throughout the season. To the players and the managers, you guys are what makes it happen. You guys believe in us enough to listen to what we are asking you to do to try to get better. Parents of the players, you guys are there, whether it's bringing them to practice or picking them up if they're the younger ones, or coming and supporting us, especially those who worked in our concession stand. Some of you were very vital in that. That would not run without you guys, and you don't even know how much I appreciate the time and effort that you guys put into organizing that and putting that together. Other parts of our players' families and fans who came to the games, I really want to thank those couple of people who really came and helped us in some early practices. One of them being Coach Kreitler, not this one, but his father, who came out and threw some practices to us, along with Mr. Nix's wife, Amy, who came and gave us an opportunity to face some pitching that it wasn't using one of our pitchers to do. Again, to the media, they've talked about Todd Gurnow at Maritime Sports, who done a fantastic job putting some articles together. I think it was a lot of fun for the girls to read them and see how much others put into following our team. KSGM, Don Pritchard, Sun-Times News, Jason Viox in the Herald, KTJJ, KREI, and KFMO. All of those guys putting the time in to come into games, doing interviews. It's exciting to be able to see our team out there being broadcast to others that can't make it to the games. To the sports boosters, you guys are invaluable to making all of this work. You put in tons of time for nothing, and we really, really, really appreciate what you guys do, not only this banquet, but helping every program from the fall sports all the way through the spring. And again, Mr. Nick said it earlier, and I know they're gone by now, but also to the kitchen staff that made the food for this banquet. I will quit with my thank yous. I hope I didn't miss too many people, but I am going to turn this over to Coach Bonnell to talk about the JV season and the JV players, and then I will come back with the varsity.
Couple things real quick. Coach, I'm not really sure what your boys are talking about perms in the dugouts for, because I never heard of anything like that from our girls. So whatever works for you guys, I guess. Also, Daruce, why are you running into the bottom of a pile after you've been hurt 3 years running?
It was a good time.
It was a good time. Okay, I'll take that. Real quick, I want to say thank you again to the administration, Coach Nix and Coach Toombs especially. We ran into some scheduling conflicts at the beginning of the season. A bunch of teams didn't have JV schedule, so they scrambled at the last minute, and we ended up getting us a pretty decent amount of games for our schedule. Now some of those we got canceled because of weather and stuff down the road, but that was a tribute to them to get their girls, our JV girls, some games and get them some time in. Being able to play softball too. So I really appreciate that, and I know our girls do too. I appreciate the girls and their families. I felt like I was really accepted, and if I wasn't, thank you for faking it, because you guys really made me feel welcome, and I enjoyed this year thoroughly. Little recap on our season. We were 7-4. I would say our highlight was the Old Settlement Tournament. Our JV, we got to put a JV team together to play in a varsity tournament, and we took second in the silver bracket, going 3-1 against some varsity teams. So I thought that was pretty incredible for a JV team to come out and win 3 varsity games. And honestly, our girls were so wore out at the end of that tournament. I really think we could have gave West County a run for their money if we would have played them a little bit earlier in the tournament. Congratulations on that. I'm going to start with calling up the girls. Just when I call your name, come up and try and hold your applause till the end, please. Zoe Cook. Zoe was our catcher this season. Her hustle and ability to keep balls in front of her was key to a lot of our team's success throughout the season. Zoe was not only important behind the plate, but she was equally as important at the plate. There were very few at-bats this season that Zoe didn't make it on base. Bailey Depp. Bailey played most of the season at shortstop and also took some reps at second base and in the outfield. She was consistent at the plate, which resulted in many RBIs throughout the season. Bailey saw some varsity time this year where she aided the team in pitch run situation. Her abilities will help the program in the coming years. Faith Lincoln. Faith is kind of the team clown. She likes to joke around a lot, but I love it. Faith played third base and was one of the 2 pitchers for us this season. Faith did an outstanding job in the game she pitched. She kept her composure and was able to locate pitches in a lot of her games. Faith was a consistent batter for the team and seemed to always have timely hits with runners in scoring position. She was a great teammate and has the ability to keep things light with her humor, which is sometimes needed through tough parts of the season and games. Chloe Walker. Chloe's not here, but I'm going to go ahead and say something about her. Chloe played several positions this year, and in order to help with adjustments as needed throughout the games. She was a very versatile player and played all the positions well. Chloe has a strong bat and produced many runs, which from most of her appearances at the plate. Her speed and her power behind the plate made her a nightmare for most pitchers she faced. Chloe has the potential to be a dynamic player for us at the varsity level next season. Cheyenne App. Cheyenne played mostly center field for us this season. She had a good glove and a good range and accuracy with her throws. Although her bat wasn't as dynamic as she would have liked, she produced some clutch hitting in our home tournament that aided in some wins against other varsity teams. Her leadership and her experience helped the team as the season progressed. Mariah Boyer. Mariah played second base and was a consistent bat in the lineup. Although she split time with a few other players, she was very vocal and liked to help coach the girls in their positions. Unfortunately, Mariah was injured her wrist late in the season and was unable to play the last game. Her leadership and positive attitude are valuable assets in our program's development. Emma Johns. Okay, I think this thing right here is supposed to... Emma played mostly outfield and first base. Emma lacks a little experience, but she caught on quick and worked very hard to make up ground. She improved a great deal over the season and had several key at-bats. Emma's work ethic in the offseason will prove to be a key factor in her role next season. Tristan Orini. Tristan played the majority of the year in left field. She positioned herself well and was able to make key plays that aided in closing out innings. Tristan has a powerful swing, and it showed when she would make contact with the ball. One of Tristan's greatest assets is her leadership. She is a good teammate and seems to always find ways to encourage everyone. She is very talented and hardworking. I imagine we'll see her continue to improve skills and abilities in the offseason. Skylar Forrester. Skylar pitched several games for us this season. She was unable to pitch the last part of the season due to her knee injury, but provided a lot of support and leadership in the dugout. Skylar helped out immensely this year with laying key bunts down in order to move runners into scoring positions. We saw improvement in her this year, and I hope she continues to work hard in the postseason. Abby Heller. Abby played third base for us during most of the season. She did an exceptional job keeping the ball in front of her and made smart decisions when fielding. When Abby was settled and relaxed, she could hit with the best of them. I hope she keeps her passion for softball and gets back to feeling like herself next season. Her leadership and sportsmanship this season were vital to the team's success. Please give these girls a round of applause. You guys can sit down. All right, and that wrapped up JV softball. Thanks again.
All right. Talk about the varsity season a little bit. We did end the season at 15-7 this year, which did tie for the best record in school history. We were third in our home tournament this year, fourth in the conference tournament, and district runner-up. You know, talk a little bit about that home tournament. I want to say again what Coach Bonnell said about that JV team. You know, we ended up a team short late, and Coach Nix and I sat in his office, and we were trying to figure out how we're going to move this tournament around since we had lost the team pretty late. And I don't know whether it's him or I that said something about, well, you know, we're looking for JV games anyway. What if our JV played at one of the locations? And I think that kind of solved it. And not did they just fill the spot, but as he said, they went 3-1 against varsity teams, all varsity competition. They made it to the silver bracket, which is the second bracket, and almost made it into the gold bracket, winning both games in their pool play. Just lost out on some runs scored or runs allowed, and then ended up second in that pool. So very, very proud of them. Yeah, you guys clap because that's a great accomplishment. At the varsity level, we had some really big wins, again, getting those 15, and we all know, and I think the girls also know, that the weather wreaked some havoc late in the season, and we had an opportunity to play some of those games that got canceled on us against teams that we had beaten already once in the year. We probably would have set the new school record for wins, but we did have some really big wins. We against some state-ranked opponents. We beat Park Hills twice this year, that was ranked 4th in the state, and we also beat Malden in our home tournament, that was ranked in the state also, I think, around 10th at the time. Just some typical team stats. This year we did score 209 runs, which doesn't mean a lot until you figure out that is 9.95 runs per game. You know, a lot of the coaches, whenever I would talk to them afterwards, and I've gotten to know some of them quite well, you know, they'll tell you the one thing that our team could do is flat swing it. We definitely could put balls in play and score runs. We had a team average of 359. That's the team average. We had 4 girls hit over 400. We had 201 hits, which is 9.57 hits per game. We gave up a total of 121 runs, which is 5.76 runs per game. Talk a little bit about our fielding. I think the girls that have been in the program a while will tell you that fielding, and some of you that have watched, fielding was kind of an Achilles heel for us for a while. Take you back to last season in the fall, we had 97 errors and a fielding percentage of .852. This last spring, we had 62 errors. We cut down by 25 and had a .891 fielding percentage. This spring season, we had 49 errors and a .909 fielding percentage. We are doing some things that are important to win ball games, and that is fielding it, and that has to come first. So I'm very, very proud of all those team statistics, and I think they're going in a very good direction. And again, I'm just so proud of this team and excited about the team that's coming back. But at this time, I'm going to go ahead and introduce the varsity team. We're going to start with the managers. First, I'm going to start with Karen Lee. Coach Bunnell. Karen was such a pleasure for us this year. She's always, always so positive. She's the #1 cheerleader in the dugout. We definitely will miss Karen. In fact, Karen was afraid she was going to miss this banquet. We talked about it a little bit because she's now living up in the Kirkwood area. And whenever she told me that, I said, just tell me, I'll come get you. She goes, no, really, no, you won't come get me. And I said, no, just call me. So I left school about 5 minutes early today and drove to Kirkwood so Karen could be here today. And I got to take her back as soon as this is over.
Just leave me here, okay?
Yeah.
Just leave me here.
But we talked on the way down on how we're going to have to carry on Coach Bunnell saying, yes, girls, every year from here on out, just for the encouragement. We're definitely going to miss her when she heads back to Malaysia. So. And then Abby Schachterly was a manager for us. I don't think Abby's here, but Abby was great because she could always be counted on if somebody didn't have a partner to play catch with and things of that nature. She always stepped in. And then we had Chloe Staffen and Ava Huber. Both of those girls helped us out tremendously through the season in the dugout, doing whatever we needed. They were so great to have, and what I'm really excited is to watch them grow as future softball dragons, so I really appreciate their help too. So we're going to start with the players. And again, I'm going to do what the baseball coaches did here and start with the freshmen. So first freshman, Bailey Deck. If you guys want to hold your applause to the end, that would be great. Bailey played a lot of JV, but got some time at the varsity level, mostly at second base. Ran on the base paths numerous times. She has loads of potential, hits the ball very well in the cage, and I look forward to watching her grow in this program. Freshman, Izzy Bosler. Izzy played mostly center field from us from the beginning of the season. She's very quick to the ball. She gets it back into the infield in a hurry, takes good routes to the ball. She did hit .347 on the season. She was chosen second-team all-district outfielder, and again, I'm excited about her growth as a player for the next 3 years. On to my sophomores. Molly Barr. Molly was injured most of the softball season with a strained quad. When she did get to play, she showed great promise as an outfielder. She glided to balls, made the tough balls look routine. I hope we get an opportunity to see what she can do next year and get her healthy and have that opportunity. Sophomore, Autumn Bosler. Autumn played numerous positions throughout the year, but settled in mostly at first base and as our second pitcher. Autumn's very solid at first, but her versatility is what makes her important to this team. Autumn pitched 6 games, had a .502 ERA and 2 wins. She hit .289 on the season, had a big home run against Park Hills. I look forward to watching her grow and be an important part of this program. Sophomore, Morgan Schwent. Morgan played second base for us, and she was very solid at that position. She continues to grow in her knowledge of the game. She's developing as a top-notch defender. She hit .289 on the season. She actually even caught 3 innings this year for varsity. She did miss a few games when she was hit by a bat catching in a JV game, but came back to play solid in the field, and she also will be a big part of this program in the future. Sophomore, Brianna Watts. Wattsy. Brianna was shuffled around in the infield early, but again settled in at third base where she was extremely solid. She does a great job at third, sometimes lacks confidence in herself, and makes all the difficult plays, but every once in a while, she'll miss a play, and she'll be so frustrated herself because she knows she should have made that play. She sometimes is her own worst enemy. Just got to get her to continue to put that one behind her and move to the next. She's got a good arm, gets good jumps on bunts, or short hits down the third base line. She hit .227 in limited at-bats this season. Brianna was selected this year to the Academic All-State team. She will be a key part of the growth of this team in the future. Sophomore, Brittany Kreitler. BK is as solid as they come at shortstop. She'll never quits on any ball in her area. She's smooth with the glove and with the feet around second base. She's always asking the coaches if they want to stay late and hit her some extras at short. She had 76 total chances at shortstop this year and had a .921 fielding percentage. To give you an idea, as we were talking through all district and all region, and other teams were putting up their shortstops, and most of their shortstops had 50 or so chances and were fielding under 900. She had 76 total chances and had a .921 fielding percentage at shortstop, one of the toughest positions in the field. She also pitched 14 innings and had 2 wins and a .350 ERA. But she's just as valuable at the plate. She hit .431 this year. She led the team in runs scored. She was first team all-conference, first team all-district, second team all-region, and also selected to the academic all-state team. Her future is very, very, very bright. Junior, Abby Heller. As Coach Bonnell has said, Abby's had a string of some bad luck. She was injured in the offseason, battled to get healthy. Just as she started to get a little healthier, she had an injury reoccur and just really had to battle through. When she did get an opportunity, she was a very good leader, would always have a good attitude. I really hope she has the opportunity to get healthy so we can see what she can do next year. Junior Skylar Forster. Skylar's another junior, has battled some injury late, but did a tremendous job in that Old Settlement varsity tournament. She can pitch and play second base. So again, she's another good leader in the dugout, and the key for her next year is, again, going to be able to stay healthy going into next year. Junior Katie Beck. Katie played outfield for us this year and spent some time as a pinch runner. Katie is super quick. She's got real potential on the base paths. I was, being a first-year head coach, I'm going to be honest, we probably didn't steal as much as we needed to. And some of that is because I was a little reluctant. I wanted us to have runners on because I knew what some parts of our lineup, the middle parts of our lineup, and the power they have. I think I did have one snafu when I had Brittany try to steal in an inning, and I think that was my fault. She got thrown out, and then I think the next hitter hit like a double that would have scored her. And that was my fault, but Katie will be one that on the base pass next year will have tons of opportunities to get some steals. She hit .280 on the year. She's definitely going to be one to vie for an outfield position next year, and I'm excited to see that happen. Junior Haley Irwin. Haley played mostly right field for us this year. Haley's potential to be really good when she wants to work hard. She's got moments where her focus lacks a little bit, and if those times minimize, she is really good. She definitely has the potential to hit strong. She did hit .302 this season, had 2 home runs. And again, she's just got tons of potential at the plate and the field. And I know her work ethic, she's going to work hard and continue to improve. And when she does that and remain focused, again, she's going to be in that middle of the lineup that nobody wants to face. Junior Lexi Bova. Lexi played numerous positions for us this year, up until Julia had an injury. And then when that happened and Julia couldn't play behind the plate anymore, Lexi became our everyday catcher. She had a really good season, catching 57 innings. She did throw out 4 runners. She handled the bat really well this year also. She hit .408 on the season. She was selected second team all-conference, second team all-district, and selected to the academic all-state team also. I'm looking forward to watching her grow and be a vital part of this team next year behind the plate. Junior Alyssa Huber. Alyssa had an outstanding year this season. She pitched 17 games and won 10. She did a great job in the circle, I guess you would say, with 65 strikeouts and only 34 walks in 85 innings. She also played some first base, but at the plate, she hit .508 on the season with a .610 on-base percentage and a .797 slugging percentage. She's a competitor who hates to lose. She can sometimes be her worst enemy when she doesn't hit her spots or takes a bad cut at the plate. But I love those kind of competitors who aren't afraid to play against the toughest competition to get better. Alyssa was chosen first team all-conference, first team all-district, second team all-region, and again chosen to the academic all-state team. I am extremely excited to have her back for next season. And my seniors. First one, Emily Grass, and I don't think Emily is here, but I am going to say something being a senior. She was an enjoyable kid, always has a smile on her face. She didn't get in the game as much as she would like to have, but she was a great influence in the dugout. She'd always start cheers or be involved in the cheers, high-five athletes as they came back in the dugout after scoring, and she's definitely left her mark on this program. She's going to be missed by everyone, and I hope she can come back and visit us next spring. Senior, Sid Ohlert. Sid was an outfielder and DP for us, and for those not in the softball realm, our DP is one of the athletes who gets to hit for somebody who's playing in the field. So when she wasn't an outfielder, she was a DP for us and a vital part of our lineup. She never gets cheated at the plate. She punishes the softball. She hit .360 on the year. Her goofiness and ability to keep things fun is part of the reason we gelled as a team. There's no doubt about that. She has been a tremendous part of this program all 4 years and has definitely made her mark on the program. Her attitude will definitely be missed next year. And senior Julia Ketting. Jill started the season as our everyday catcher, but an injury to her arm wouldn't allow her to catch anymore, so then she became the DP and Sydney moved to the outfield. We couldn't lose her bat in the lineup. She hit .425 this year, led the team in RBIs with 25. When catching, she caught 54 innings throughout 5 runners. She's a great leader that leads mostly by example. The one thing I saw different this year was her willingness to lead vocally. A few times this season, I watched her call the girls together to encourage them or to get them refocused. And this season, Julia earned first team all-conference, second team all-district, and selected to the academic all-state team. She's definitely going to be missed in this program, but she is going to have the opportunity to continue her softball career while she plays at St. Louis Community College at Merrimack. We're extremely proud of her and excited for that opportunity. So this, folks, is the 2019 SGHS varsity softball team. All right, so I've got some awards. We'll give some awards here. First, the awards I have are their medals. The first one is, and some of these awards are voted on by the team, some of them are statistics based. The highest batting average this year goes to Alyssa Huber, like I said, who hit 508 on the season. The next medal is the Most Improved Award. This one I totally agree with the voting. This year's Most Improved Award goes to Autumn Bosler. She's an athlete who stepped up for us, filled numerous positions, but really was solid at first base and then came in again to pitch when we needed her. And the last medal is a Team Leader Award, and that goes to Julia Ketting. All right, and then I have 3 plaques to give out. The first is the Power Pitcher Award. Power Pitcher Award this year, 10 wins, 65 strikeouts, goes to Alyssa Huber. And the last 2, again, voted on by the team. Offensive MVP, this could have gone to numerous girls, and there were numerous girls who had votes, but the offensive MVP this year goes to Julia Ketting. And the defensive MVP. Again, our defense was vastly improved from other years. This one, you better hit a ball deep in the hole or right over second base, or she was going to find a way to get to it. Our defensive MVP this year goes to Brittany Kryler. Again, I want to thank you all and thank you girls for the season this year, and play this summer. Thanks.
Okay, Coach McDaniel wanted me to mention that he forgot to say Keaton Boyer earned first team all-conference. He mentioned some of the all-conference. Did not mention that Keaton was first team all-conference. And also Logan Gegg and Peyton Matthews earned second team all-conference. So congrats to all of our postseason award winners for both sports. Also want to do one more congratulations before we do 50-50 and head out tonight. Last year, I went to Dr. Lindsay and said, hey, what do you think about the possibility of having an additional award at our retirement banquet. You know, we have the high school teacher of the year, we have middle school, elementary, we have administrator of the year, friend of education, and so on and so forth. And I said, you know, what about a coach of the year award? And without hesitation, he said, I think that's a great idea. So last year we had our first ever Coach of the Year award, who went to Chris Warner, very well-deserved coach for that position, or very well-deserved coach for that award. And then this year, of course, our second time having the Coach of the Year award went to somebody who's sitting up here with me tonight. He coached 3 sports. He was the head coach of one of those 3. He's got family at home, just like all of us do. A very understanding wife, obviously, because he coached 3 sports. But you want to talk about a guy who can connect with kids, no matter if they're a male or a female, if they're any walk of life. He connects with all kids, and he's passionate about what he does. And I can remember him way back my first year of coaching football, going over to play Farmington, and we were pretty good that year. That was 01-02, and Farmington was better, we'll just say that. We go over there, and Farmington scores their first touchdown, and I see this massive human being come out onto the field, and he lines up at kicker, and I'm like, are you kidding me? And this massive human being kicked it about 50 yards further than he had to. But I think that day he was like a perfect 5 for 5 on PATs. But that was my first time ever seeing Jared Bonnell, and little did I know that years later I would have the privilege of being his supervisor. So this year's Coach of the Year award went to Jared Bonnell.
Since it's story time on Coach Bonnell, I've got one. Back in the day, a long time ago, I used to coach middle school track. He knows the story. And Jackson always had a huge meet that was middle school and 9th graders. And I was there actually with Coach Cook. We were coaching together. And all of a sudden, we see these ambulances pull up, and all these people are rushing over to the shot, and we're not sure what's going on. And we go over there, and there's a Farmington athlete laying there that had been hit in the head with a shot. Coach Bonnell.
I never heard that story, but that explains a lot.
I didn't go on to tell you that I came back in one shot again.
You came back in one shot put that day?
And discus.
Not surprised, and discus. Not surprised about that either. Okay, we do have a softball video to watch that, Haley, did you put this together yourself? All right, Haley put together a video, so let's take just a minute to watch that.
I was broken from a young age, took my soul into the masses, writing my poems for the few that look at me, took to me, shook at me, killing me, singing from heartache, from the pain, taking my message from the veins, speaking my lesson from the brain, seeing the beauty through the.
All right, great job, Haley. Thank you. What a great spring, huh? We had school record set for wins for baseball and school record tied for wins in softball. That probably does not happen very often, so enjoy it. It's been fun, no doubt. I wish it could never end, but like all good things, they have to come to an end. 50-50, really quick. While I'm doing this, any award winners or postseason award winners, so if you were all conference, all district, or if you received a medal or a plaque tonight, stick around. Somebody will take your picture out in the commons, most likely Miss Staffen. She steps up when nobody else is there to do it. So stick around if you were one of those people, okay? Let's actually start with 50-50. And then we'll do banners. 50-50 for $39. Bring your ticket with you to claim your money. The winning ticket is 689-2209. 689-2209. All right. No one's obviously very excited about it. It is only $39 though. Hey, Mr. Boyer, all right.
Next perm.
Congratulations, sir. Okay, thanks. All right, we'll start with the softball banner. There's a bunch of them in here. That's awesome. Jenny Ohlert. All right. Sid, you can grab that on your way out. Baseball banner has not been created yet since baseball pictures are tomorrow or today? Tomorrow. But that banner will be made sometime soon. So if you win, I'll need your phone number so I can call you over the summer when it comes in and you can come pick it up. Okay? Here we go. Peyton Matthews. Wake up, Peyton. You just won something. All right. Again, award winners, stick around. Everybody else, thank you very much. You guys have a great evening.